Estamos.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's session. We are very excited to have you with us as we dive into one of the most pressing topics shaping the battery and manufacturing industries right now, the new regulatory landscape in the European Union and what it means for companies across the supply chain. And here's a quick guide into our agenda for the next hour. We'll start hearing from our expert speakers who will bring a wealthy knowledge from both the regulatory and technical perspectives and why this matters for every organization working with batteries or related products. First, the economist Enrique Javier Benítez from Andalucía Trade will talk about the digital products, passports, and the role of regional governments. Then, Manuela Chúcarro from Gaia X will give us insights on technical challenges of the European Commission's standardization mandate. After that, we'll hear from Luna Gutiérrez from Launch 4, who will talk about the role about technology and software in the growing regulatory panorama on digital product passports. And finally, we'll finish with key takeaways and time for your questions if you have. So before we begin, just a bit of housekeeping. Remind that your microphones will keep muted during the presentation to avoid interruptions. And we'll have time for Q&A at the end. We'll activate the chat at that point. And yes, this session is being recorded. We'll share the recording with you afterwards, so no need to worry if you miss anything. So let's start. As many of you know, the European Union adopted the new battery regulation in 2023, which has set a series of deadlines that will completely reshape how data about batteries and many other products are managed and reported. And from carbon footprint declarations to the introduction of digital product passports, the regulation is pushing us toward a model where transparency and traceability are non-negotiable. And it's not just batteries. Similar frameworks are already being developed under the EcoSign for Sustainable Products Regulation, meaning that every manufacturer will need to prepare for a data-driven compliance future. And what we are really seeing is a shift. Compliance is no longer a box-ticking exercise. It's also about building the digital infrastructure that will allow companies to compete, innovate, and stay trusted in the market. That's why today's conversation is so timely. With less than 18 months before the first mandatory digital product passport coming to play, every player in the value chain, manufacturers, OEMs, distributors, recyclers, and even regulators, they are under pressure to act. This is the moment to understand that not only what's coming, but also how we can prepare in a way that makes compliance an opportunity and not a burden. So with that, I'd like to introduce our expert speakers. Joining us today are Enrique Javier Benítez Palma, an economist with more than 20 years of experience as a senior public executive. Currently, he works at Andalucía Trade, the business support agency of the regional government of Andalusia, where he focuses on promoting innovation and competitiveness. His expertise lies in new technologies and innovative services, and throughout his career, he has been dedicated to improving public management. He has also published over 20 articles in academic and specialized journals, contributing to the advancement of knowledge in this field. Next, Manuela Chúcarro from Gaia X, Regional Manager and EU Digital Product Passport Expert. He currently works as the Spain's ambassador at the Industrial Digital Twin Association and actively contributes to the CTN UN E333 Committee on the Digital Product Passport. His career combines to technological expertise, creativity, and leadership, with a strong focus on digital excellence and shaping projects that combines business, innovation, and the future of industry. And Luna Gutiérrez Castro. She's a seasoned product owner in Launch 4 with a strong background in data, compliance, and digital product development. With experience as a Scrum Master and change management specialist, she's professional at bridging the gap between technology, business needs, and regulatory requirements. Her expertise spans software development, GDPR frameworks, product management, and business system architecture, which she now brings into the context of digital product passports. Also passionate about sustainability and innovation, Luna is dedicated to shaping solutions that not only meet regulatory demands, but also foster efficiency and transparency across industry. Now we'll start the expert panel with insights on the digital product passport. So I'd like to give my word to Enrique Javier Benítez Palma. Hello, Enrique. How are you?
Hello, Mireia. Nice. Thank you. I will share my presentation. Give me a minute.
Okay.
And yes. And good morning. Yes, good morning. My name is Enrique Benitez. All my publications are about public audit and the improvement of public management. And I'm economist, and I work right now for Andalusia Trade, that is the regional development and business support agency of the regional government of Andalusia. Before beginning my presentation, that I hope you will find relevant and useful, I would like to thank Lucia Lopez for her kind and risky invitation, and Mireia Sevilla for her precision and patience. Well, I want to talk just about 10 minutes about digital product passports and the role of regional governments, because I work for a regional government. And I confess that I knew almost nothing about digital product passports. But last Monday, I had a face-to-face work meeting here in Malaga with Vodafone IoT. And the topic of the new 16 beacons came up. These devices that will be mandatory on the first day of January and next year. Most people I know believe that the new regulations on signaling, broken down vehicles on the roads, are simply about replacing some elements that we know, that the triangles that we have in our cars, with others, these lights. But these beacons sends a signal to the Traffic Administration cloud in Spain, the Dirección General de Tráfico, DGT, and to the Civil Guard, la Guardia Civil, our traffic police in, in all Spain, and they can find out what is happening in real time. So this signal can also connect it to other vehicles. So when you are driving in a road, you can now in real time that you can find in 1 kilometer another vehicle. It's not just a light, but it also a beacon. It's just una baliza. And the interesting thing is that to ensure their useful life, these devices must also incorporate the battery, which is a good example of how we are not just talking about batteries for cars, bicycles, or scooters. We are talking about batteries for a lot of things, even connected things that are important to our own safety. This is the an infography about this device that is connected to the cloud, managed by the Dirección General de Tráfico, by the DGT, and in real time, the DGT and the Guardia Civil can know the state of the road and any incident. So let's talk about DPPs. Well, the European rule talk about batteries, that they are an important source of energy and a key factor in promoting sustainable development. And I have here a paragraph. Given the strategic importance of batteries, in order to provide legal certainty for all operators involved and to avoid discrimination, barriers to trade and market distortion in the battery market, rules should be established on the sustainability, performance, safety, collection, recycling, and second life of batteries, as well as on information on batteries for end users and economic operators. So, um, next, no, give me a minute. Okay. The key concepts are sustainability, we know, performance, in order to know more about the efficiency of these batteries, and safety. This is really important because of the issue that I talked about 1 minute ago: collection, recycling, and second life of batteries. But take a look to this photo. We must bear in mind that in addition to the contribution of this digital passport to the tracking of batteries, to knowledge the sources from which the components and minerals come, and to facilitating their recycling and reuse within the principles of the circular economy, even in European countries, we find resistance from society to the opening of new mining operations, even for strategic minerals. This photo was published 5 days ago in El País, Spain's leading newspaper, and shows paint, minas no mining, in a small village in Badajoz, in Extremadura, in a small village called Alconchel, an area of the so-called España vacía, empty Spain, that is suffering from the population and where there are few economic opportunities. So we find big resistance to new mining exploitations, and we have to do all the possible to get a new use for these batteries. I would like to mention 3 documents about the digital product passport. This is the first of them. Sorry, it's a paper called Digital Product Passport: Finding the Right Balance Between Transparency for Circularity and Added Red Tape. It's a very recent paper, and I like this figure that talks us about the preparedness for digital product passports. This is a survey in German companies made last year, and we can see that not all companies are prepared for digital product passports. Large companies, we can think in great car manufacturers in German, in Deutschland, they are really prepared, but small companies are not prepared for digital product passport. And this is a very useful figure to mark the state of the art. Okay. And this paper also, you can also read in this paper that there are major information gaps about companies about the associated advantages and challenges of the DPPs, of digital product passports, and that given the low DPP readiness of firms, it is essential that the European Commission develops a cross-sector solution for a DPP that can be implemented by as many companies as possible. We talk about this in the last slide. And the second report that I want to share with all of you is this report from Oxera, commissioned by Amazon. This is relevant, from March 2025, the economic impacts of DPPs in the European Union. And I like really much, because I think it's really illustrative, this summary of the economic impact of digital product passports in the European Union. We can see some savings by the reduction of compliance burdens, the reduce of the cost of packaging and waste, increase of traceability, or more efficient markets, surveillance, and customs. So this report show us a lot of advantage and economic impact of the introduction of this digital product passport. And this is an example of the internet informational requirements for the battery pass that I think it's a good example to show in this brief presentation. The battery pass will include general information and also labels and certification, supply chain due diligence about the origin of the minerals, circularity and resource efficiency, materials and composition, carbon footprint, also very important, and of course performance and durability, as we saw 3 minutes ago in the requirements of the European rule. And the third report is this implementing the European Union Digital Battery Passport, opportunities and challenges for battery circularity. And this is a report by CEPS, Center for European Policies and Studies, a Belgium think tank. And we can see the key opportunities and challenges about arising from the battery passport, develop a better picture of the carbon footprint, test the capabilities of the battery passport tool to then design similar requirements for other product groups, support battery recycling, support second life applications, increase consumers' awareness of the environmental impacts of batteries, support more eco-conscious decision by consumers. We are consumers in the develop a level playing field that rewards actors adopting higher sustainability standards or provide a form of reassurance about responsible sourcing through due diligence requirements in the battery passport. But what are the challenges? Challenging to collect data from the multitude of companies involved in the various life cycle stage, general reluctance to share data due to confidentiality concerns. We have the GDPR, as you know. Lack of knowledge about the need for building transparent battery supply chains and the requirements of the upcoming European Union batteries regulation. Lack of clarity, lack of standards to ensure interoperability. This is really important. Difficult to assess the reliability and validity of collected data. Unclear responsibilities for meeting the requirement of the battery passport, or also finally difficult to consolidate or require carbon footprint data and produce comparable results. So, and this is my last slide, what can be done by regional governments like Junta de Andalucía? And the CEPS report offers three recommendations. The first is provide higher clarity about battery passport related responsibilities. The second is support interoperability of battery passport data. This may concern to the national governments more than to regional governments, but in Spain we have a multi-level government, so we can be also in this effort. And third, create a platform for sharing best practice examples of battery passport initiatives. And of my own, I will add to include specific measures related to DPPs in the regional government sustainable development strategy. The second is assess the degree to which the regional business fabric has adapted to the new requirements arising from the implementation of the DPPs. In German, small business are not prepared to this requirement. Think about Andalusia. And the last one may be to create economic and tax incentives for companies to adapt to the new regulatory framework. This is all on my side. I hope to have been useful for you all and to share relevant information and relevant reports to understand better what are we talking about. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Enrique, for sharing your insights on the role of regional governments regarding the DPP. They have been quite useful. And now we move to Manuel, who will give us insights on technical challenges of the European Commission's standardization mandate. Hello, Manuel. How are you?
Good morning. Fine. Thanks a lot for inviting me. I'm going to share now my presentation. It's a little bit about the challenges, but I've been working for already some years with the digital product passport. So if at the end there are some questions, regulatory issues or more technical issues, I'm very happy to answer them. Let me share my presentation and let me know when you can see it.
Yes,
we can see it.
Okay, so first of all, I'm here as a member of the GaiaX Spanish Hub. I'm there sometimes acting as the specialist for digital product passports, especially in what relates with data spaces. And as you see, I'm also practically involved in different work groups and associations which are actively contributing at European level to the digital product passport. First of all, I will do a brief introduction of what it's GaiaX. GaiaX is a European initiative that was created a few years ago in order to promote the creation of open data spaces for different sectors to create what it's called the data economy strategy of the European Union. So the intention is to create sets of policies, open source software, resources, and so on to create a digital, federated, and transparent ecosystem where we can share data in a way that people can trust and so that we can create actual value out from that. Okay. It's based on the idea that if we have a central place which is shared, transparent, and can be trusted, then we can share different data and services in the shape of raw data that it's listed as in data catalogs, services that is listed in service catalogs, and then ICT services, which are more like infrastructure services, so that everybody can combine these elements in a more or less like a platform business case where consumer applications can improve the way that we organize our industries and so on through consuming data that it's provided by the main actors in different sectors, maybe tourism or industry or whatever it is. This is what I already told you. It's specifically or especially about creating specification and open source software for these three pillars: the data exchange, federated propagation of identity, catalogs, and integration, and creating a trust framework through software and as well through governance rules. We have more than 100 members in the Spanish hub. There is also a European hub that we coordinate with. And we have several working groups. Some of them are vertical, focused on applications on all of these areas. I think as of today, we already have a couple more. This slide is not 100% up to date, and we have as well some horizontal work groups. Especially the strongest one is the one about enabling technologies, which is the one that deals with the open source connectors and so on. That said, what we are here to talk about today is the European Digital Product Passport, and I'm going to show you what are first of all, the technical challenges. So in the standardization mandate of the, excuse me, because I didn't translate the title of this slide. In the standardization mandate of the European Commission for creating a standard for digital product passport system, we find several challenges there. The first one and the easiest one to understand and to see is the interoperability. You can imagine if we have to create a technical framework that it's used to share product information from any kind of product inside Europe, there are already many different systems in place which manage the information of these products, and they would like us to make something that is interoperable. So interoperability among all of these systems, from which we don't even have a exhaustive list of all of them, it's one big challenge that I'm also going to come a little bit more into detail in the next slide. The next one is legacy compatibility. Whatever we create has to be compatible with whatever it's there already in the market, because the European Union doesn't want to create a huge amount of burden and financial costs for everybody to be able to implement a digital product passport. The next one is semantic diversity. When we are interconnecting data and words from different products, semantics become very important. I put there the example that it's not the same or it's not as good to have a Jaguar in your garage, depending on if you're talking about the fancy sports car or if you're talking about the hungry animal, you know. And this happens as well in products. Like if you're talking about energy or water or waste, then for different products it has different meanings. Or for example, temperature. A very high temperature for some products it could be something positive, and for other products it could be something negative. And this has to be somehow handled and unified. The other one is reliability and scaling. You can imagine if in the future we will have the obligation to have one digital product passport for every single product that is going to be in circulation in the European Union, in some cases for models of products, but in other cases for real actual units that are in circulation in the markets. The size of this system and the amount of data that's going to be shared, it's humongous. And then we have to make sure that whatever we design is able to scale to the levels that it's required. And also it has to be reliable. In the end, we want this system to be able to support legal requirements, and therefore it has to, the information stored in the digital passport system or ecosystem, better said, has to be there always available. Another issue that has been mentioned is the point of confidentiality, security, and integrity. How can I trust that the information in this digital product passport actually belongs to the product that I have in front of my nose? How can I trust that this information is true and hasn't been tampered, or that the origin of this information is the actual one that it's supposed to be, or that no one modified it over the time? Or even better, if I'm a manufacturer, how do I know that my competitor is not going to access any kind of confidential information that I don't want to share with him, but I would have to share because of legal requirements with a recycler, for example? No, so all of these issues are also pretty delicate and have to be handled with technology and with regulation. And the last one is the ease of access. There is a requirement in the standardization request that the digital product passport needs to be accessible by any citizen using technology at hand, meaning like with a phone, with a smartphone. This means that it has to be accessible reading a QR code or reading an NFC tag. Some codes, you know, that they are not easy to be read by the phones. Some technologies which are there very used in different sectors, like for example RFID tags, are not always 100% compatible with all the phones. So this also means some technical challenges that we have to deal with. In particular, the one of compatibility versus interoperability, it's a little bit challenging because both of them are actually opposite. If you want to have a standard that it's going to allow connecting any two systems implementing digital product passports out of the box, then you have to define a lot how the standard is going to look like and which kind of interfaces and data models and so on. But then whatever you are creating, it's something new, because all these systems, they are not interoperable already. So you are forcing everybody to adapt to the new standard. Which means you're breaking the compatibility with the already existing systems which are there in the market. And regardless of which point do you use, you have to figure out how are you going to respect the semantic diversity of the different markets without creating collisions there. So from all the challenges, I think this one is one of the biggest ones, because basically there is no ideal solution. We are going to have to choose in the standard, what do we publish? Are we going to be more strict? And then this means almost all existing systems which are managing product information will have to adapt somehow to the standard in order to comply. Or are we going to leave it as okay requirements of that systems need to fulfill, but not specifying exactly how do they have to fulfill them, so that the legacy systems can fulfill them without changes. But on the other hand, if we want to create integrations, it's going to require specific integrations between two systems more than creating a really interoperable ecosystem. No. The next one is about the implementation effort that this is going to mean. Most of the people think that implementing a digital product passport system is a really big effort, and actually it's like an iceberg. Like we already estimated that a really large effort is to have already digitalized information, digitalized, not digitized. So like not information in a PDF or a Word document or whatever, but really information that it's connected, updated, accessible, that it's also regulated through authenticated access and so on, from our suppliers, from all our departments, the different sections that have influence anyhow in the performance of the products, in the energy consumption of the products, from our production lines and so on. And then once we have all of this, it's already a huge amount of effort, and we need to make all of those data sources to be available and interconnected. And then on top, it's when we build the digital product passport system, no? That it's the part that allows other people to connect to these data sources. About the standardization works that we are doing. One important thing is that there are like two big pillars of work regarding the digital product passport. One is the what, and the other one is the how. So the how, it's the digital product passport system. How is it going to look like technically, the requirements for any kind of software to be able to say, hey, I'm a software that I am implementing the European digital product passport, and therefore I'm interoperable, and I can work together with a European digital product passport registry and all that stuff, so that I can play in the game. And the other one, it's the what. The what, it's as manufacturer of batteries in this case, or it could be chemicals, furniture, steel products, ICT products, or whatever. What do I have to put into my digital product passport? This is going to come through specific regulations, like, for example, the battery regulation, toy safety regulation, textile regulation, which are already there. Published construction product regulation, and all the delegated acts that are coming specifically from the Eco-Design for Sustainable Products regulation, for a delegated act for furnitures, delegated act for chemicals, delegated act for anything that you want, which is not products that are coming out of human sources, animal sources. I think also medicine or medical products are excluded. Pharmaceutical, actually, not medical, sorry. And automotive, and especially automotive and these kind of products is because they are going to have their own framework, which is going to look pretty similar to the digital product passport, but it's not regulated under the ESPR. So if you're more worried about what do I have to put in my product, then you have to go to your association or to what's called the Eco-Design Forum, the guys who are doing the delegated acts and the regulations. If you're more worried about how do I implement a digital product passport system or software, then you have to go to the standardization committees and you have to look on the how to the National UNE 333, JTC 24, CIRPAS 2. I'm going to explain this as well a little bit more. How does the digital product, Mireia, you have a question?
Yeah, sorry. It was just to remind that we have only a few minutes left. So
yeah, I'm going to fly.
Okay.
How the digital product passport system looks like, it's something like this. The European Commission is thinking to have different decentralized repositories. So every manufacturer is going to be responsible for their data, and it's going to have their digital product passports in their infrastructure. And then every digital product passport published has to be registered in a digital product passport registry handled by the European Commission. This registry is connected to a web portal that allows then accessing through that web portal any digital product passport. If a consumer has a product in front of his nose, then can scan the QR code or what it's called the data carrier, RFID or whatever, and through that has direct access to the digital product passport in the infrastructure of the manufacturer. So more or less, this is the way how it's going to work, and this is how they intend that it's going to be scalable. The standardization work, it's been done here in Spain through the committee Unit 333, that it's part of the European Committee Sensenelec JTC 24. And there are 4 working groups. We are working on finishing the standardization documents by the end of this year. We'll probably be published by the beginning of next year. And how the DPPs link to data spaces. There are mainly 3 different applications that we can see. So DPPs are going to be pieces of data related all to one unit or to one class of product. We can use them to fit digital product passports. So different data spaces may have information that has to go inside the digital product passport from the different parts of the life cycle of a product. We can also use them to link data sources for data spaces because the digital product passport has a unique identifier, and this unique identifier can be used to have the same piece of information or the information related to the same object in different data spaces, but all of them under the same ID, which would allow to browse information from different data spaces within all related to one record. And the last one, it's maybe one of the most powerful ones, that it's if we are able to put all the information for a certain kind of product in a specific product-related data space, this could allow us to use optimization, artificial intelligence tools, and so on to create a lot of data intelligence on top of these products and then to more efficient and sustainable design of new products to come into the market. If you're interested a bit more into DPP and data spaces, I left you here the link to a paper that we recently published in Gaia X. And there is also the information in case you would like to join the Gaia X Spanish hub. So, that's it from my side.
Okay, and thank you, Manuel, for sharing your insights on the standardization of the DPP in the UE and its connection to data spaces. I'm going to share my screen again. Okay, so I think this leads us straight into Luna, who will share her perspective on the challenges and opportunities of digital product passports, highlighting how digital solutions can help organizations navigate the complexities of compliance and sustainability. Hello, Luna.
Hi, Mire. Thanks. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you all for being here. As Mire said earlier, I'm part of the Launch4 team, and I'd like to introduce you a little bit about Launch4 and what we do. We are an enterprise that was designed to address the real-world integration challenges faced by many model companies, and we do so by developing our own technology stack. Our mission is to create modular and scalable tools that act as bridges between disconnected platforms, corporate data systems, and emerging AI technologies. We have a strong foundation in data engineering, and Launch4 enables information flow across architectures, making it easy to prototype, adapt, and scale intelligent digital solutions. Given the growing importance of renewable energy, we've been evolving modular technologies to build high-value platforms, as Almena, which is an advanced analytic platforms that focus on BESS systems, which are large-scale storage systems. We also have Hydra, which is a circular ecosystem with traceability and focus on the generation of digital product passports. And we've recently been working as well in Metis, which is a tool for measuring and managing carbon footprint. So That said, I would like to share that I'm really excited, as always, to talk about compliance from the technology side and from the industry perspective as well. And I know compliance is a topic that can feel pretty boring. However, I think with the right approach, it can be shifted to actually become a competitive advantage, and we can actually turn the investment and the efforts into value. So over the next few minutes, I'd like to look at the challenges we're facing today and explore how technology can help change the way we handle these challenges. So if we start with the challenges, the first challenge is very related to what Manuel was talking earlier about the implementation efforts. Is data fragmentation. In most organizations, product information sits in different systems. We have ERPs with operational and transactional data. We have design specs and bill of materials in the PLM. We have supplier data in procurement systems. We have tons of spreadsheets. We have sustainability data in the LCA and EMS, if we are lucky enough to have these systems. And otherwise, info is sitting in files, in personal laptops. The key to the problem is that even when there are systems in place, the integrations between the systems are partial or non-existent. So data exchange requires hours of manual input. And this is a scenario that I'm sure we're all familiar with. We've been all ourselves immersed at some point in time consuming combination of spreadsheets, doing VLOOKUPs, and very mild. This is only for internal reporting purposes. When regulations come in place, the level of detail that is required increases. They ask for broad summaries, they want variant level data, material composition, embedded carbon, supply chain traceability, and trying to pull all that data together in the required structure is a major obstacle that organizations face today. I don't know if we can, yes, thank you, Mira. So what happens when our systems don't connect? Most organizations tend to rely on manual work and delay integrations, blaming it on budget restrictions. And we know from partners that today, majority of manufacturers, even larger ones, still rely on spreadsheets for compliance reporting. From our experience, it can take on average 6 to 8 weeks or even more to compile data for a single digital product passport. And when you do so manually, error rates can be in the range of 40% or even higher. We've all seen this, like endless link spreadsheets, consultants jumping in, fragile workflows, and everything breaks when regulations change. This is a system that simply doesn't scale, especially when you have like hundreds of thousands of product variants. So if we move to have a look at the regulations evolution for digital product passports, we can see here that the timeline of evolution. The real challenge is that these regulations are moving targets, and we can see how it has evolved in this timeline. It started in 2020, it started with the Sustainable Battery Strategy. In July 2023, the new regulation was adopted, Carbon Footprint Declaration this year. We've also seen an evolution on the level of detail of product passport requirements this year. And by 2026 and 2027, we will see that the deadline will become official. And it gives us kind of a clear picture, or it makes us more aware of why manual processes won't be enough to support all of these new reporting requirements, and companies must work on this pyramid that Manuel was showing before, on all of this implementation effort. Can we move to the next slide, Mire, please? So I think the key here is how we can use technology to change the game, how we can move from reactiveness to proactiveness. So instead of treating compliance as an afterthought, as a last-minute reporting exercise, as a burden, digital platforms can help companies and can allow companies to integrate data at the source, automating structuring and keeping it aligned with the latest requirements. And that shift means we're no longer in crisis management each time regulations change. We're already prepared, regulation ready by design. And I would like to talk now. I know I've talked about, kind of like common sense stuff, but the part that worries or concerns most companies is the investment side, that they see compliance as a burden, as a something you're forced to invest in, but you're not getting any value from it. And this is where technology as well and technological solutions can change this paradigm. Once you have the right infrastructure in place, compliance data can become more than just a regulatory requirement. It can be a value generator. And we know so from working with partners, the same data that satisfies regulators can also power ESG reporting, can improve transparency with customers, can help uncover hidden inefficiencies in supply chains. It can strengthen competitiveness in contracts. It can help you to win bids, and it can support strategic decision making. So one that data source can have multiple business benefits, and compliance shouldn't be seen as just a cost. It should be seen as a driver of business value. From our experience, I think we think there are like 3 critical success factors that we try to implement in our solutions. The first one is modularity. We don't need to overhaul everything at once. The smartest path is to start with the most urgent areas. For example, if you're a manufacturer, can tackle the highest volume products first, building a basic integration to capture essential data for key product lines. And once this is in place, you can move to the rest of the product lines. You can expand and start shifting this manual process step by step into a digital one. You can move then into more complex data sets, emissions, supplier integrations, basically start small and scale smartly. The second key success factor is integration. We need solutions that can connect with business systems, and otherwise we'll just create another silo. And we know that from working with all our partners. And the third one is what I mentioned already, value creation. Basically turn the investment into something that can deliver value from the business, and it's not just a cost. Technological solutions are here to basically help customers to reuse this data to improve operations, to enhance sustainability metrics, to unlock revenue opportunities, and that way is how we can help better to deliver value. And I think that said, we're ready to move into the Q&A and welcome some questions.
Yes, thank you, Luna. And that's the philosophy behind the technology that we need. Rather than forcing business into workflows, we need an infrastructure that adapts to our needs, secure, interoperable, and of course, ready to grow with the projects. So we will move on to the Q&A. We will activate the chat so you can ask questions to our speakers. If you want to ask a specific speaker, indicate it in the comment. We will wait a few seconds until people write.
Maybe it was too much information in too short time. People are still processing
Yes.
it. That's why scalability and reliability is so important.
Okay, I can see questions here. A question for Luna from Jaime Delgado. And if we are looking at significant investment in DPP software, how can companies actually recover this cost? Is there a way to generate revenue beyond just meeting compliance requirements?
I mean, this is a good question, and this is the main worry from all industry actors, the investment that they need to do in software to adapt to regulations, and this is basically what we've been talking about in the last slides. We know, like, for example, from our experience with partners, that through this exercise of implementing software, they have discovered inefficiencies in their supply chain, products that have a very similar bill of materials with 20% or 30% difference in cost. And it's been through the exercise of uncovering this data and digitalizing this process that they've been able to uncover these inefficiencies, these suboptimal issues in their operations, and they've been able to correct them. So there are multiple opportunities beyond just operational savings that they can discover through DPP data. Like, for example, I was mentioning before about winning bids using reports that you can create from data extracted from DPP systems, because you can increase your reputational image with customers, showing that, what's the percentage of CO2 in your products, how you're making efforts to reduce this percentage. The value isn't just about avoiding compliance fine. I think this is important to keep in mind, that there are a lot of reputational improvements that can come from transparency, operational improvements, as we said, competitive advantages that you can take over other brands if you show traceability and transparency. And what's interesting is that some hidden opportunities can often deliver more value than the original compliance investment.
Okay, thank you, Luna. Is there any other question? Okay. Okay, we have one question and another question from Jaime, and then a point from Enrique Javier. Maybe first we can ask Jaime's question, which was first. And here we have another question for Manuel. And can you tell us the connection between DPP and European data spaces is expected to impact companies in the long term? What's your opinion?
So in the short term, it's going to be a booster for digitalization. So as everybody's going to have to digitalize this information, then even if you're doing things on paper, then you're going to become digital. So more or less at middle term. If you're looking on a longer term, digital product passports and data spaces is something that the European Union needs in order to keep the pace of competition ability or competitivity against China, because in China all the verticals and all the value chains are very strongly integrated. They already have their own digital passport systems. They all share data. They do optimizations of things like disruptions in the supply chain, bullwhip effects, and so on, that here in Europe we don't have. So actually, I really like to say in a similar way as Luna, the good thing of the digital product passport is not the stick, and it's more like the carrot, no? Like it's something that if we do this, then we will be able to remain competitive in the future, and our industries are going to become more efficient. If we don't do this, then the rest of the world is going to be more efficient than us, and we will have to suffer in order to keep our well-being status, as we are already seeing in some countries.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Manuel. And Enrique had a point about the fire that can be caused by batteries. If you want to add something, Enrique?
Well, it's just hello. Just one point, because I work in Malaga, but I live in Cordoba, and I saw live the fire in the mosque that is a World Heritage Monument, and the origin of the fire was a battery of an electric sweeper that was being charged in an inappropriate place. So we talk a lot about the technical aspects or technical questions of the digital product passports, but thinking like a citizen that we all are citizens, I would like to emphasize this point, no, the contribution to more safety products and more traceability, better traceability of possible incidents caused by these batteries.
Okay, it was a very interesting point. Thank you, Enrique. And finally, just to let you know that after today's session, we'll upload the recording webinar to YouTube. And finally, thank you all for joining us today, and a special thanks to our expert speakers for their insights. If you have any additional questions or would like to continue the conversation, please reach out directly on LinkedIn. And we look forward to working with you as you prepare for the new era of digital compliance. And hope you have a great day. Bye. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye. Thank you very
Bye.
much.
Thanks. Bye-bye.